For a very long time now, humans have had a love affair with fountains. It could be a nice gurgle in a park that spices up a picnic, a seal vomiting water through all eternity to amuse tourists, or a young boy who made his dad pull over because he really has to go, over and over again. Whatever. People just enjoy being near water that does stuff. But no one enjoys a fountain more than this man, Mark Fuller, the CEO and co-founder of Wet Design. For he is the creator of this, and for just $200 million or so, this. I recently visited Wet's headquarters in Burbank, California, partly to find out how Mark turned fountains into high-tech performance art, but mostly so that I could do this.
Fire!
If you've ever run across a 300-foot stream of dancing water or a sidewalk that spits out fire, there's a good chance that the people at Wet made it. The company has pursued this very unique line of work since 1983 and has done hundreds of projects all over the world, although it's perhaps best known for the Bellagio fountain. Almost every piece of the fountains, the lights, the water nozzles, the audio gear, gets designed and manufactured here, and much of it is the brainchild of Mark, which brings us to an obvious question. How and why does one become a fountain man?
I've never really had a major surgery, but I have to tell you, I'm a little bit afraid that if they ever take the scalpel, what comes out may be clear, not red.
Mark's enthusiasm for playful spectacles came to him as a young boy, while on that most American of adventures, a visit to Disneyland.
I was 9, and we made our first trip to Disneyland. We left from Salt Lake City, then was like a 16-hour drive to Los Angeles. And I just fell in love with what Walt Disney had created. And I thought, man, if you can't be God, Walt's got a pretty close second here. And I set myself a goal of working for Disney when I grew up.
And then you actually end up becoming an Imagineer.
I did. When I graduated from Stanford, I went to work right for Disney. And there could have been no more perfect, postgraduate experience than going from Stanford to Disney. And I learned so much there.
And you're at Disney for a while, and then you and a couple partners decide to break off and start Wet.
And that's when he got a call from Steve Wynn, the Las Vegas real estate tycoon.
He says, here's the goals. I want people to not think they're in Las Vegas. I want them to be completely in a separate space. And he said, we need to tie this, to really beautiful music.
Yeah.
And there's a third condition, and I think, oh my gosh, what's this? He says, this has to be the biggest thing you'll ever do in your life. That's a scary thought. We kept that for a while. I think we've gone a little beyond that, but it was Steve really put us on the map.
Steven Spielberg once described the Bellagio fountains as the greatest single piece of public entertainment on planet Earth. And even though they've been around for decades, they remain iconic, amusing locals, tourists, and moviegoers alike. But what really fascinated me about Wet's story is how the fountains are made. The engineering and materials science push the limits of what's possible.
At its heart, water in a tube wants to be this chaotic, sloshing around thing, and what you found a way to do was to tame it and send it in one direction. This technique called laminar flow. What's like the key to laminar flow?
Well, if you think of water molecules, like a bunch of people kind of running around, and somebody says, get out of here, and they all cram towards the door. That's like water coming out of your faucet or your garden hose. But if you imagine a military parade where everybody left, right, left, marching in parallel step, then everybody exits the door. If it's 6 people wide in the theater, it's 6 people wide through the nozzle, the door, 6 people wide down the street. So you get those water molecules all marching at the same speed in the same direction. It's not unlike coherent light in a laser beam in that sense.
You guys do everything from the architecture all the way up to building. How does this process work?
Sometimes a client will come and say, we just saw the Bellagio or something you've done. They engage us for what we call a concept design phase of work, and we'll come up with several ideas that we're excited about. From that, we do the basic architecture surrounding it. And then we'll do the engineering for the fountain part. I have no interest in making stuff that somebody else does. That's part of doing something new. We have a new device, then of course we design to make that.
This means inventing things like this dragon light contraption that helped make the Dubai fountains stand
This
out.
is our biggest underwater light. They're unbelievably bright.
Or this fountain that's on fire.
Fire and water. That is cool.
It's borderline insane to make so much hardware, but Mark has embraced the madness.
How many square feet is your whole facility?
You know, I should know that. I'm going to say it's around 200,000, give or take of that.
Their workshops are huge, super clean, and whimsical, with a giant robot, hidden doors that lead to Mark's personal office,
This is my hangout.
This is your hideaway?
This is
or-
my hideaway.
a glorious wood shop,
It smells so good in here.
It does, doesn't it?
and even a gym with Eric the trainer.
This guy does push-ups like the Jack LaLanne of today.
There's also a lot of hard tech that goes into the fountains, from advancements in chemistry to new kinds of optics.
Sometimes you have to dig down one level beneath the engineering to the actual science. We have 4 science labs here. We have scanning electron microscopes, high-pressure gas chromatographs, mass spectrometers, all sorts of things to really analyze materials and how they'll interact with each other and with water and so forth.
All of this technology eventually comes together at the final assembly line, which was designed by Garrett here.
Officially, this is called the Bright Room, but this is where we house our surface mount assembly equipment and then the final assembly and test of the lights.
Okay.
So our customers constantly come to us and just say, hey, do something easy, just do something you haven't done before, and do it in a way it's never been done.
Yeah.
So that's what we constantly push ourselves. This most recent thing that we're working on is 20,000 lights, over 2,100 shooters, 300 robotic devices, and several million gallons in the basin.
Having to top itself every time out makes life tough on wet, and so do the boom and bust cycles of the business.
It seems like to me it's just hard to keep getting bigger and better.
You know, I read once every great author goes to bed at night wondering if he'll ever wake up with a new story idea. So I go to bed at night thinking, you know, will we have a new idea tomorrow?
Yeah.
And so far they keep coming. There's something in water that really draws us. You and I, we're like 70-ish% water, right?
Yeah.
And we're born out of water, coming out of our mother's womb. It's such a fantastic substance. Now we are doing a few exciting things for the future, which I'll...
There's something for consumers. as
Well, yeah,
opposed
to democratize what we're doing. Everybody doesn't have some big pile of money to do a public feature, but why shouldn't you be able to do that at home?
Yeah.
Why shouldn't you be able to be the coolest family, you know, where all the PTA families want to come and have the party, you know, in the summer party at your house because you've got this great thing in your house or yard.
A Bellagio fountain in my backyard to impress the Joneses? Yes, please, just so long as there's plenty of fire.
Thanks for watching, and if you want to see more Hello World, click on the link to subscribe.